Hello, my name's Kim. If you're familiar with this channel, I normally talk about books, but I thought that I would jump in and talk about another one of my hobbies, one that I've really gotten into over the past year, which is stationery. So this is my mid-year techo kaigi, or the planners and journals that I've been using since January. I only really got into serious journaling last year. I picked up I kind of went into 2026 with the idea that I was going to daily journal, or try to, and so I picked up a couple of different things, and I am thinking already about how I want to utilise them going forward and what my kind of plans are for the next year. So I thought I'd go through the kind of 3 journals that I've got at the moment, what has been working for me, what's not, what I'm thinking for 2027, and just get involved, because I really enjoy watching other people's versions of these videos, because I think it's just nice to see what people are doing and see how people utilise their journals. So to start, I got onto the Hobonichi train pretty much straight away, and I was obsessed with the Yumi Kitagishi. Yes, I said it right. No, Yumi Kitagishi planners and journals. And so when the new drop happened last September, I'd already kind of been interested in picking one up, so I picked up the weeks because I really love the pattern, and I also picked up the A6 cover for the Hobonichi because my thought process was that I was going to use the A6, or I could interchange that with a smaller journal anyway, and I could use this one for more daily things, and also reading journal. If you watched any of my videos from last year, you'll notice that I talked about kind of reading journals versus reading spreadsheets and what worked for me, but I'll get onto that in a minute. And so I got this, I was really excited to using it, and I did start using it because it starts in December, so I started to fill some bits in. I didn't do too much on the front kind of like sections because I was kind of going to work out how I was planning on using it, but you can see here that I kind of put my reading stuff in. So I have like my mum's birthday, I was working on Saturday, so I put that down there because it's kind of like out of my ordinary work pattern, and then I put down what I was reading this week and what I wanted to read in my end of year kind of TBR. However, as the weeks went on, things kind of like changed a bit. I did write quite a bit in some of the days, so that was Christmas week, so I put in kind of a few different bits. So I had a Chinese takeaway on New Year's, I went on a trip to Birmingham with my sister, and then I kind of put brief thoughts about what I was currently reading, and then a little bit of kind of like notes about how much I enjoyed Christmas and kind of what my plans were for the next year. Same thing kind of happened until the very first week of the year, and I was going in with the idea of doing spending tracking as well, because you can kind of cut that section in half on the page. There's a very faint kind of dots at the top, so I was going to have kind of like my notes here, my spending tracking, and then just general kind of bits on the side there. But as you can see, over the next couple of weeks, nothing happened, and not very much happened for up until literally a couple of weeks ago. So I put in different bits here about a couple of weeks ago about kind of like my work, and what I kind of have figured is that like I'm not very good at planning for work in a journal. I did end up getting a little calendar so I can visually see in front of me on like a calendar spread where I was going to be, because I have a lot of travel for work that I do, and so I found it easier to kind of visualize it there as opposed to in a book, because the calendar is right in front of me. I can just look at it and know, instead of having to flick through and find the right page. And I really didn't use it for the reading journal kind of part that I was hoping to. You can see that I did a haul of fame and haul of shame that I wanted to do, and I was going to put in my books that I was reading there. I didn't put anything in there. I even put my January reads thing, and then I didn't do anything. So I've kind of scrapped the idea of using this as a reading journal. To be honest, I haven't really been doing reading journaling at all this year, partly because I feel like my reading motivation has just been through the gutter, and so I think even my reading spreadsheet, I kept up with that at the beginning of the year because I find it a lot easier to just pop in the details, and then I really slacked on that as well. So I have not really been keeping track of my reading outside of using Goodreads, which I prefer in a sense because it's simple, and ultimately, although it's fun to see all the other fun statistics, I find it a bit of a chore sometimes, I think, to go in, especially if I'm duplicating it across different places like my spreadsheet and also a reading journal. So I think I'm going to still figure out how that can work for me, because I have kind of been doing a little bit of reading journaling, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. But I felt really bad because I bought this and I hadn't really used it, and there's a gap of basically 5 months where I didn't really use it at all. But a couple of weeks ago I was at work and I was really getting the urge to journal, and on my lunch break I just had to like scribble some stuff down on some paper, and I was like, I want to get like a small journal to take with me to work. And I sat and was looking at things and I was like, wait a minute, I have my weeks. And so I've put this now in my work bag, and it's going to be kind of like my workplace for notes. So if I'm at work, I can just kind of write down anything that I want to, especially if it's something that I was be thinking about in like kind of my general daily journaling. So it's kind of my kind of on the go at the moment. Will I buy another one of these? Probably not. I really do like the weeks. I like the size of the weeks, but I don't think that I'm getting the most use out of it. I think that if I am going to get something similar going forward, I was considering getting like a little field notes for work, but again, that's quite small and I don't really love that size. I want to get something that's kind of like this, is it the B6 kind of size, the traveller's kind of size, for work, that is just kind of more of a standard notebook that I can use and just dip in and out of, because I don't think I'm fully utilising the weeks as it is, which is a shame because I really do love first of all this cover, and I will treasure this cover, but also the kind of like size and the slimness of it. So that's my kind of thoughts on that at the moment. Because I knew that I probably wasn't going to utilise that towards the beginning of the year, I decided to go in and also get the Hobonichi Cousin. So this is the A5 size. It is pretty well used, and I've been using this as a daily journal. So at some point throughout the day I'll sit down and I'll write down whatever's on my mind. It's not a morning pages or a recap of my day necessarily, it's literally anything and everything. And there was a period in here for about 3 weeks where I stopped using it, and kind of every now and then I'll kind of maybe go a couple of days without using it, but I've been fairly consistent with it, and I'm quite proud of it because prior to picking this up and really kind of daily journaling in it, the only time that I was really journaling and writing things down is when I wanted to really get my emotions down. So either I was like really frustrated or I was really sad, and I wasn't really journaling just for the sake of writing about, you know, my day or anything like that. And I've really enjoyed having a daily journal. At this point I am almost 100% certain that I will be carrying on in the Hobonichi going forward. I just really like the pages within it. I wasn't too sure that I would love the size. That's why I picked up the A6 originally, but I actually have really loved the size because I don't have to use the entire size, and I also have not necessarily done proper journaling on every page. So I have a page here where I had a little day trip that I put loads on, but then there's other pages where I haven't really written much at all. So for example, a little bit of junk that I put in, and then I'll find another one. My drawing of I don't know if you know that crab meme where the crab is like annihilating the other crab, and I made a picture of ChatGPT users, and that's me annihilating that. So it's just like random stuff. Here's my toiletry kind of travel bag situation, and so I have used it fairly frequently, and I really do like the use of it. I have put some stuff from like junk from when I've done little days out, but then other times I have not done that at all. I'm trying to find the page that I was thinking of, where I picked up, so I bought a bunch of felt that I wanted to use, and so I stuck all of the QR codes, the barcodes from the felt, and then pretty recently, as in yesterday, I did kind of like my notes for my techo kaigi, kind of going into this video, and then I also did a mid-year freak out for the book tag that I think I'm going to do for my next video as well. So this is like a really full page, and it isn't always like this. So for example, I saw Hayley Williams in concert on Friday, so that is a page there, but then I didn't journal for like the past couple of days before that. So like I said, I'm really loving the Hobonichi. I think it is my favourite journal that I have currently. I just really like the size, like I said. I really like that I can be quite flexible with it. I don't feel the urge to journal every day, but I feel like I can go in and I can do whatever I want in there, dip in and out. I'm debating whether I want to get the Hon, which is it the Hon, the hardcover version, because you have the kind of the embroidered one. They have like the galloping horses one that they did for the Year of the Horse, which I really love the look of, but I also really like the plain cover aspect where you can decorate it with stickers. So I'm kind of like weighing it up. I think I'll see what they release for those covers. I'd at least like to give it a try, I think, and then if I switch back to this one the following year, then that's my plan. At the moment I am planning on repurchasing the Hobonichi Cousin size next year, and I kind of see myself going forward continuing to use this. I really just love the kind of pages within it, and I'm a Hobonichi convert, even though I'm not really a week's combo. And finally, to wrap it up, I also was looking at travelers notebooks. So I have a friend who got a traveller's notebook, and I have another friend who got Paper Republic, and so I was weighing up between the two of them because I really like the look of both of them. And my thing with my Hobonichi is that it is my kind of a daily journal, and so there are some journaling pages I think sometimes where I want to be a little bit more intentional with my journaling, and if it's in my kind of Hobonichi where it's kind of like a mix of different things, because a lot of the time it's me talking about, you know, where I'm allocating my savings money for the month, or you know, a bit of a vent on how I'm feeling. I wanted something that I could be a bit more intentional with, and so I was thinking about the two of them, what I wanted to do, and then I decided, instead of going ahead and purchasing one straight away, that I would try out a traveller's insert, because I do really like this size. It's obviously a similar size to the kind of week size, and I really like the portability of, I mean, the Paper Republic as well, but specifically the Travellers. I look at it and I think I really like the look of that. And so I decided to play around with this a little bit. It has been more intentional journaling. So I did a kind of bit of a decoration for my first page. And then I've done very much, it's kind of a little bit media journally, because I did like a page where I printed off a Receiptify for the Hayley Williams album. This was before I went to see her in concert, but I was really proud of this page because I felt like I just sat down and I could just create at it, and it felt way more intentional compared to what I'd done before. And then I also did some for the other concerts I've been to this year. So I saw Monrovia and I saw Leve, so I was really happy with the way that they came out, because I kind of put, you know, my feelings about going to the concert and my kind of like top songs I really enjoyed. But then also I put down my travel plans. Again, it's a bit more intentional journaling. So I've got a couple of holidays that are coming up. I'm going to Malta in a couple of weeks. I'm going to Cologne with my mum and my sister towards the end of the year, and finally we booked the flights to go to Japan next year. And so that was kind of like my rough travel plans for the next year. And then I put where I'd want to go in the future as well, and I just felt really intentional about it, which was really nice. And so I put down as well, I started but I haven't really finished it, an idea for a Japan shopping list about things that I want to get, but doing this feels way more intentional. And my kind of thought process was originally, you know, when I go to Japan, I really want to do a travel journal, and I really like the size of Travelers Company inserts, and also obviously Travelers Company is a Japanese company, so I was like, in terms of collecting stuff that's there, it would be really nice to do a Travelers notebook as my travel journal. And so that was like my main thought, but I was like, I don't want to just go and purchase everything just for the sake of it when I don't know whether I'm actually going to use it. I am still leaning towards actually getting one. I think I still need to sit with this for a little bit longer and actually make sure that I'm using it, but because it's more intentional, I'm not necessarily picking it up all the time, which I think is fine also. And I know that also I could, you know, pick up the Travellers cover and then have a couple of different journals and play around with them. And I know when it comes to stuff like travel journaling, I'll be way more intentional with it. I have a trip coming up in a couple of weeks, like I said, I'm going to Malta, and so I'm thinking that I might try and do a bit of travel journaling then as well, to see how I feel about the sizing and stuff, because I think that actually it is a good spread that you can have across the two pages. So this is kind of like my thoughts for Travellers Company. So I'm 70%, 75% I'm sure that I will actually invest in a Traveller's Notebook system going forward, but more for intentional journaling as opposed to kind of like tracking and stuff, because I'm not very good at tracking. That's something I'm just not very good at. I realised I did say earlier about reading journals as well. I have written some stuff about books in here, so there's been a couple of times where I was reading a specific book and I had thoughts on it that I would just do a page on it. I'm going to look now and I'm not going to be able to find it because I was just like, it's in the midst of all of this. And so that's why I think I didn't really necessarily feel the need to have a specific reading journal, because I could just come and I could write in here and be like, I read this and I really liked it, or this is why I think someone should read this book, because I know that's what I did in here. Illness has taken me as one of the pages. That is my techo kaigi midway point. The plans, like I said, definitely invest again in a Hobonichi cousin size notebook. I want to use Travellers Company going forward, and I probably am going to scrap off the weeks, but I do want to invest in a similar size, I think, for work kind of like scribbles. I know that I could technically use a Travellers Company insert, and maybe that will be the system that I use. It's just that my work bag I don't really want to take my Travellers like system to work, I think, if I fully invest in it, just because I don't think my bag is big enough for one, but also I don't think I get more use out of it necessarily to be taking it to work, if that makes sense. So I guess I could get an insert and then just take it out and have it as like my kind of like travel one that I then slip in at some point. I'm not too sure about that yet. It's just something I've literally come up with right now, and because size wise they're fairly similar, and so I think it would kind of make sense. But yeah, those are my thoughts and kind of feelings. I really am glad that I've been getting into journaling. It's been something that I've found a lot of comfort in over the past year. I really enjoyed the stationery aspect. I've got too many washi tapes and I've got a lot of stickers, but I'm really enjoying it, and I think that it's something that I really hope that I continue with going forwards, because I just think it's fun, and I am really happy that I've managed to finally journal frequently as opposed to infrequently, I guess. So that's my mid-year techo kaigi, and I guess maybe when it comes around to the end of the year I'll update you on what it is that my plans are for 2027. Thanks for watching.